Hello scrappers and planet lovers, Tin Man here with another video. So I was asked an interesting question the other day from a fellow viewer and scrapper, and his question was, do the higher end vacuum cleaners like Dyson have better scrap material? And in particular, are the motor windings all made of copper? So being a teacher and a scrapper, I wanted to find out that myself. I just happen to have several Dysons laying around. I have behind me here a upright canister model, one of the floor canister models, one of the swivel ball ones, and a battery operated one, or lithium ion battery operated one. So gonna check the motors today, see what kind of metal they are made with. A lot of the material is the same. You do have some really nice appliance wire cord on all of them, but the main question, looking at your motor, are they all copper? A lot of your other vacuum cleaners like your Kenmores, your Panasonic, your Dirt Devils, they have now, a lot of them, replaced the inner motors with aluminum windings instead of copper. There are some scrappers who actually no longer pick up the vacuum cleaners for that reason. I still do, and I have shown inside of them, even the armatures are copper on all of them. But do want to answer that question today, see what I have. I do also want to apologize. I am suffering from a man cold, so I do sound a little nasally, very stuffed up and congested, so I apologize for that, and I will do my best. Actually sucking on a lozenge right now just to help my throat. But as I said, gonna look at that. I have already removed all the material. The nice thing with all three of the first ones here I have, all of them do have an excellent long appliance wire. You can see this is all at a scrapyard going to be classified as 40% appliance wire. And currently right now, these cords are going for $1.52 a pound in London, Ontario. So I have over a pound and a bit here, so that's excellent. I'm going to have probably about 4 or 5 pounds from the three of them. So just like your other vacuum cleaners, that's not going to change. I have already gone ahead and removed the motors. Some of them I have already taken off the outer plate. And unfortunately, like the other vacuum cleaners, they do all have a lot of plastic. Some places, some of my viewers have commented, especially on the East Coast, that scrapyards will take their plastic from vacuum cleaners and other appliances. They will give them plastic weight price. Unfortunately, here in southwestern Ontario, mine will just have to go into the garbage. I have called around with different scrapyards, and they did say that there were types of government incentive programs for different types of plastic shingles, for example, years ago, but unfortunately they do not do that now. So it would be awesome if Southwest or the provinces of Ontario would get on board with all the other provinces and help reduce this plastic and find the recyclable means to do so. But unfortunately for me, that is not the case yet. So 3 nice size motors from these 3. This one I have not actually opened at all. Just gonna quickly show you how to do it. Very easy. I have not tested any of them either, but just gonna hit the cap off this. I always have my safety glasses on. Just gonna hit that outer coating off. Rotate it. Okay, it just pops off, you can see. And the great thing about these motors is, even though the winding could be aluminum, every one of these motors does have some clean aluminum inside of them, as well as tin. So when I look at scrappers or hear that scrappers do pass up all of the stuff from vacuum cleaners other than the appliance wire, I do feel that you are losing a lot from scrap metal. Because again, even this, if it was aluminum, I'm gonna get tin price. The armature inside is gonna be copper, and there is some clean aluminum here. So I'm gonna start with this one. I just popped the cap off to save some time. So some clean aluminum here. This is going for about 55 cents a pound. Okay, so it just comes unscrewed. There is my inner motor right there. I love these as well because the arms like this have brass on them. If I scratch this, just to show you, inside of that is clean brass. There is a spring in there that I do have to remove, But that yellow brass right there is going right now for $3.15 a pound. Okay, but moment of truth, I am going to scratch this just to see if it is copper. Okay, this is my first one. And you can see right there, that is copper. So number 2 copper right there that I'm gonna get. Currently number 2 copper in London, Ontario is going for $4.60 a pound. I do see some people throw these into their copper bearing motors as is and get copper bearing motor price. And that's only about 30 cents a pound. So it's worth your while taking out that copper. Gonna make a lot more money from copper than the copper bearing motor for the weight for this whole thing. So the first one, the big canister there, Dyson, is copper. The second one here, again, some tin. And this tin is gonna go for about 9 cents a pound, which is great. Just gonna unscrew my bolt here. Here is some more clean aluminum. I do have to remove the screws on this one to see. And the screws, I will say with the Dysons, there were definitely different types of screws. I had to use several different Allen keys to get the screws out. They weren't the normal star, if you will, which again, doesn't bother me. I do have a lot of different items and tools that I use. Okay, but this is another motor. Here is the motor again. There is the windings there inside of it. The armature is in the middle there, connected to this guy. Some brass. Okay, but here we go, moment of truth. The scratch test. All right, this too is copper. There you go, there's another one. So 2 for 2 right now. So I have my upright canister. This one did have the really nice hose. The nice thing about this hose is this is also gonna go into my tin. The spool here of wire, I did have to remove the plug-in here. This brass plug-in, I always take these as well. Some people leave them on for the weight. I take the brass prongs off. I will put them into my bucket. But I did have to cut this in order to get it out of the plastic holder. Okay, but some really nice wire again. Couple pounds here. As I said, 40% appliance wire, going for $1.52 a pound for this. It also had, which was interesting, a couple different levers on it, a couple different buttons, push buttons, if you will. That also had, as you can see, this one on the edge. Anytime you have a click noise like that, there is going to be a little bit of copper inside of that. Okay, but 2 for 2 for this. Here's a little circuit board that came out of it as well. Some plastic. It has some brass inside of that. Okay, last one here. I'm gonna open this one for you fully, just to show you how to open these up. It also had, the swivel one has a small copper bearing motor like this. These types of copper bearing motors, I don't actually open. I will leave them as is and get copper bearing motor price. I do remove the little brass ends though. Okay, and I do have right here a giant bag of little motors. So these ones, like I said, come in different sizes. A lot of different circuit boards have these power heads. Another item that a lot of scrappers will pass up because they don't believe that there's enough in there. Sometimes you can see, for example, the arms on this can be aluminum, sometimes stainless steel. And as I said, power heads also have a really nice motor inside of them too. So 25 to 30 cents a pound for this. It adds up as well. Some people will remove the copper out of there, but for me, it's just a small amount and it's not worth it for me. But last motor here, gonna look at, going to open this. Pair of pliers, put these in there, open it, pull that nut or bolt and twist it. Okay, sometimes you gotta hold it. Okay, and sometimes if I take this, it will swivel. Okay, Okay, so I'm just gonna hold the top. There we go. Okay, so there is going to be my bolt. The more clean aluminum. So just from this, some really nice tin, but didn't even have to break these aluminum wheels out. So probably about 7-8 ounces of clean aluminum there. Just got to take out this last plastic faceplate to see. There's your brass again on the sides. See if I can go 3 for 3 here. Okay, my screws I always hold on to, I put in a bin. I actually have a big container right now, 20 pounds of screws. It's gonna go into my tin pile at 9 cents a pound. Okay, so there are my last windings there. And I'm gonna just scratch it. Let's go 3 for 3. And there you go, look at that. 3 for 3 here. Okay, and this one I am gonna open just to show you the copper inside of it, how to remove it. I do have separate videos on full teardowns of vacuum cleaners, different transformers, different motors, how to take them apart. And I will include those in the links because there are different types of motors for sure that you have to take apart. But just gonna quickly show you how easy it is to take out the copper from here. I do also want to look at the last model that I had of vacuum cleaners right over in the back here. This one was my battery operated one. Okay, just gonna break this off first. Okay, there are a couple screws on the sides. In order to open this, I do also have to get off those screws. I'm gonna show you the brass from here too. And I will also include at the end of the video the final weight for my copper, final weight for my aluminum, final weight for my brass and tin. And I do include in my tin the hoses, as I said, because they are also part of the scrap teardown. But to answer that person's question, yeah, 3 for 3 with my aluminum. That was awesome. Or copper. That was great. 3 motors. Unfortunately, I don't find a lot of Dysons. I wish I did. Perhaps that is why I don't find as many, because they have used, or they are using, better material. You know, it's an interesting question and topic, but just gonna pull this off here. It's thin. Okay, so there we go, pulling this. Move it down. Using a punch. There we go. Okay, so there is my armature. This armature right here, I do include, these are all gonna be copper. So again, regardless if the windings are aluminum, you still wanna pull out that armature. And I do have a video how to take off the copper out of these armatures. Very easy to do, and it does add up, okay? But again, gonna show as promised my last example of my Dyson. This is my battery operated one. It's a smaller hand wand. This is the battery that comes out of it. You can see the battery is actually still flashing, so there's probably a little bit of life still in this. I did try and turn it on, see if it worked. It didn't, unfortunately. These batteries, perhaps you can sell them online if it is in good workable condition. It just actually went out now. Only one of the light was on, so there could be a malfunction with this. But this is takeable or scrappable at some scrapyards. I did call a scrapyard in London, Ontario. They said that lithium batteries they do not accept. However, they will take batteries like your D's and your A's and your C's. The scrapyard I take these to in Sarnia, they will give me about 10 cents a pound. So some scrapyards will take lithium batteries, some won't, okay? It did also have a small circuit board, as you see here, a little bit of copper. And I am curious, let's see if I can go 4 for 4 to see if this is going to be copper or aluminum. One way to check, there it is, scratch test with my file. these are copper, so I will take these off as well. I do have to just crimp it off. It is welded on there, but a little bit more copper here on there. The rest of this circuit board I will throw into my e-waste. Okay, there is a little bit of cable here, some brass ends here. Okay, gonna throw that into my brass as well. Okay, but again, battery operated. The lithium batteries, you do need to check with your scrap yards. Some will take them, some will not. And again, 9 cents a pound for this. Okay, so here is my battery. Again, there are my 2 windings. Very easy to open. I just kind of pop them like that. There is my little spring that just came out of it. Little bit of copper there. I just cut that off and throw that into my copper as well. Okay, I've got to hit off the plastic, but some yellow brass there. Again, this is going for yellow brass about $3.15 a pound right now. It just went up from last week, which was at $3. So that's a great sign that prices are going up. Okay, just gonna hold this in my vise here, clamp it in. Just gonna take my pry bar, use leverage, pop this out. Okay, so there we go. Just gonna move this over. Gotta make sure it's secure. There we go. Okay, stronger than my bench. It looks like my bench is giving way, but that's just because I'm using a lot of strength to this. There are my windings. Okay, so all I'm gonna do now is just use a grinder. I'm actually just gonna hit one side, and then turn it over and pop it out. Okay, the rest of this shell is gonna give me tin price. So here we go, just gonna use my grinder. I do also have to remove the little wires off of here. Okay, a little bit of wire. These wires are actually gonna go into my 60% appliance wire. So a little bit of an upgrade. They do have some brass on them that I do want to take off as well, clean off. Okay, but just gonna aim at the copper right now, pull off some of this plastic shell and make it a little bit more accessible. Okay, so again, moving that around. Okay, so look at that copper there. And again, when we look at copper, that is our scrapper's gold. Okay, my grinder is right here. 2 incisions, again, as I said. Okay. Make sure you cut all the way through. Just gonna turn it over now. The spark did not come from copper. The spark just tells me that I've made it through and are now hitting the steel case. So that's a good sign. But here we go. Just gonna pull this out now. Okay, feed it out. There we go. There's one. Look at that beautiful copper right there. And again, look inside of that. You can see it's copper. So there's one. Just gonna hit that plastic out. There we go. Okay, just gonna turn this. Sometimes you've got to move this a little bit. The windings can be stuck. Okay, but just gonna turn this around so I can actually get better leverage on it. There we go. So there is 2 coils of copper right there. I'm looking forward to seeing my final weight to this. Okay, the rest of this shell is going to be more tin. Okay, so out of this experiment, great question. All 3 of these motors were copper, including the circuit board from the small battery powered one was also copper winding. So Dyson, 4 for 4. I'd love to see if I can keep going with that streak. But again, in my opinion, all vacuum cleaners are worth grabbing. regardless if they are copper winding. But I did want to answer that question. I do appreciate that question for sure. I will do my best to answer other questions, so if you have any, please put them down in the comment section. Thank you again for watching. Please like, share, subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next one. Tin Man out.